But tonight we're going to be talking about chapter 3 of the compound effect. You guys like this hat? My Happy Co hat. It's a limited edition. It's kind of one of a kind. Can't get it anywhere. So maybe I'll just like raffle it off sometime at our next convention. I'll raffle it off and then give all the money to charity. So no, you guys don't want this nasty thing. I wear this all the time when I'm painting and stuff like that. But no, we're trying out some fun new swag. So hopefully you guys are going to see some cool new stuff showing up in the swag store. Carrie Boggs, what's going on? Gosh, I love it when you guys all turn on your cameras. It makes it so fun. And I get it. If you're hanging out in your jammies and you can't be on camera, I get it. I want to be in my jammies too. What's going on, Carrie from Nebraska? Good to see you. Susan, how are you? Good to see you. All right, let's jump into chapter 3, compound effect, habits. This is a really, really fun chapter. Do me a favor, as always, put in the comments of 3 if you are reading this book with me or listening to this book with me. Put a 5 in the comments if you're just tuning in to gather some fun notes on this book. Get the spark notes, if you will. I love seeing all these 3 pops up. And again, I get it. If your 5's busy lives, I understand. Don't ever beat yourself up. The fact that you're showing up on this call is amazing. And I am wildly appreciative and grateful. And hopefully you are too, taking some time for yourself to grow, to expand your mindset. But this chapter of chapter 3, if you're following along, there's a lot of really great stuff. And I took a lot of 2 pages worth of notes for tonight's call. And he talks a lot in the very beginning about, this concept of we are what we repeatedly do. We are what we repeatedly do. And this will be a note-taking call. I'll tell you right now, if you don't have notes and you wanted this call to be effective, you might want to grab a notepad or your phone or something like that to take some notes. Hey, Gavin, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you. We are what we repeatedly do. And he wraps that into consistency, into a message of consistency. And he gave this beautiful analogy. And I want you guys to picture this. I want you to picture, he talks about a man bringing a boy into the forest. And in the effort of trying to show him the power of consistency. And the old man points to a little sapling, little baby tree, just barely plucking up. And he says, go pull that tree out of the ground. See if you can pull that tree out of the ground. And the boy walks over and he yanks the sapling up with no effort at all. He says, good, okay. Now go pull this tree out of the ground. And now this tree was a little bit more mature. It's probably about up to his knees, grown a little bit more. And the boy walked up and he grabbed it and with a little bit of effort was able to pull it out of the ground. The old man said, wonderful. And he said, okay, now go pull that tree out of the ground. And this tree now was as tall as the boy was. And as the story goes, with much effort and quite a bit of time, the boy was eventually able to get the tree up and out. He had to get a stick and a rock and bang the roots out, but eventually he got that sucker up. It took a lot of effort. And the man said, wonderful. Now go see if you can get this tree up. And he points to a giant oak tree. And the boy, understanding that it took pretty much all of his effort to get the tree out that was the size of him, looking at the size of that giant oak, said, there's just no way. I can't. It's impossible. Can't do it. And he wrapped that into the analogy of getting knocked off of your goals. If you've been consistent with your goals for one day, you're like that sapling, right? Someone could easily pluck you up. You can pluck yourself right up. You stay consistent for a month. All of a sudden, the roots are developing a little bit, but guess what? You're still pluckable with a little bit of effort. Someone can get you up. 6 months, you're consistent and you're feeling good. Your roots are starting to dig a little deep. But guess what? With enough persistence, those roots can be dug up. When you find a way to stay consistent, that is when you become the oak tree. And so he talks about staying out of the instant gratification trap. Now, a lot of people on this call, we've got some, a little good mix of millennial, Gen X, and baby boomer on this call. But for the most part, everyone on this call has outlived the internet. So pretty much everyone on this call understands what life was like before this instant gratification world that we live in. You understand what it meant when you didn't know if someone called you till you got home. You understand what it meant? I mean, like all of these little things, internet access on your phone. I mean, these are all things that are very basic. We take very much for granted, but we're not a commonplace thing in our lives growing up. Instant gratification can be a huge driver in your goals because didn't know who was on the other end of the phone till you. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. No caller ID. Just, yep. Who is this? Star 69 them. If they hung up on you, guys remember that? The old Star 69. I'm going to find out who just called me. I don't know who it was, but I'm going to find out. Calling you back. But avoiding the instant gratification trap. That is important. And we're going to get into that in a minute because what he talks about is finding your why power. Write that down. Finding your why power. I love this because he says willpower will fail you. Put a 5 in the comments if your willpower has failed you in the past. You set a New Year's resolution. Didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Willpower will fail you all the time. What he talks about is why power won't. We've talked about this many times on these calls, but I'll use the analogy again. He uses in the book, which is why I'll use it again. But you've heard me use it many times. If we took a 1 foot wide plank of wood, 50 feet long, and spanned it in between 2 buildings, and said, would you cross that plank for $20? How many of you would cross the plank for $20? 50 feet, 100 stories in the air, 1 foot wide plank of wood. Yeah, I want you to answer. I want everyone to answer. Nope. Good. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say same plank of wood, same building, same height, but on the other building was your children, or maybe your parents, and that building was on fire. How quickly does your perspective shift? Instantly. You're like, what, $20? You think I care about $20? My children are over there. Are you out of your mind? Why power is untouchable. We've all heard it before, but the how doesn't matter if your why is strong enough. The how does not matter if your why is strong enough. Now, your why can be something that your goals and your why can be something that you really, really want, or it can also be something that you really, really hate and you don't want anymore in your life. A lot of the times we constantly find our why to be something that we desperately want. that becomes a little fictitious sometimes because it's hard to grab onto. It's hard to idealize making $10,000 a month. It's hard to, you can set it as a goal. That's great. But sometimes maybe your why could be to eliminate something you hate. I hate not having enough money at the end of the month to pay all my bills. I hate that I don't have what I want to give my children. I hate what is that in your mindset? What is that for you? What is there something that you hate enough? I think that so often we try to gravitate our why into something that we need. Like our why has got to be something so strong. Like it's got to pull us in the direction. My why is, I want to, and I'm not trying to downplay anyone's why, I want to go do mission work, or I want to go do all this stuff. I want to go change the world. That's great. But you need to eliminate some of the stuff that you hate, some of the things that the choices that you've been making in order to have some of that. And so he talks about core values. I don't mind. See, that's where I come in. That's where I come in this house. I'm the toilet cleaner in this house. I'll take that on. Give me the rubber gloves. I'm ready to go. But core values. He talks about core values. And this was an important one for me because I didn't really think about core values in this way when it comes to your life. But do you know what your core values are? Ask yourself, what are my core values? He says, what are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to die for? Genuinely, really, what are your core, internal core values? He says that a lot of happiness in life comes when the actions that you are taking do not reflect the core values that you possess internally. So for instance, you're a family person, but in the pursuit of trying to spend more time with your family, you put 80 hours of work into your job. And so you're naturally going to be going against some of your core values, which is going to find unhappiness in your life. He quoted someone, and I didn't get a chance to write down where the quote came from, but in this chapter of goals, he really talks about mapping out your vision. And he says, when you write a goal, this is a quote from someone, he says, when you write a goal, ask yourself, am I willing to give my life for this goal? Because that is what you are doing. Am I willing to give my life for this goal? That was a big one for me. Because I didn't think, like, you think of, are you willing to give your life? Like, I think of, like, I'd give my life for my children. That, like, entails me dying. Like, but I've never had someone put that quote in that way where it was really positioned as, am I willing to give my life for this goal? My life in the sense of my time, my energy, my distractions, all of that. Am I willing to give my life in the pursuit of this goal? And I thought it was a really beautiful way to use that phrase because I've never heard it used that way. And I love a phrase that makes me stop and think. He outlined 5 strategies for eliminating some bad habits in your life. And I want to talk about some of those, and I want to kind of go through them quickly. A lot of these we know. A lot of these we understand. In your business, a lot of the times we know what we're doing, but again, we go back to the why. And if your why is not strong enough, the how is always going to matter. Write that down. If your why is not strong enough, the how is always going to matter. If you find yourself focusing on the how, it means that your why is not strong enough. That one blew my head open. 5 strategies for eliminating bad habits. The number 1 strategy he gives for eliminating bad habits is identifying your triggers. Identifying your triggers. Who, what, where, when. These are important things to write down. Identifying your triggers. Who, what, where, and when. Not a lot of people know this, but a long time ago, I smoked cigarettes for a long time in my life. A big trigger for me was every time I got in the car, I needed to have a cigarette. It was just a thing for me. Every time I got in the car, no matter what, it was a trigger. How many of you are guilty of this? I've been guilty of this. It's a habit I'm trying to break. The second I wake up in the morning, what do you grab? Identify your triggers. What are you checking? Why? These are the things. It's not just I grabbed my phone in the morning, but I went to what? I went to where? And I love this, Melanie. Again, you're in the place I want to be, sister, of gratitude, and I love that. Someone said their cup and a cap first thing in the morning. I love that. Devotionals, I love that. But again, this is very important for praise God, and then my phone. Yep. Water, then devotionals. Yep. So identifying, and these might not be little triggers for you. You know, you might not, a morning time might not be a trigger area for you. Maybe the trigger area for you comes into when it's time to do your income producing activity. Maybe you notice that every time you sit down to make phone calls, Susan said it's nap time. Or every time you sit down to make phone calls, something gets busy. Or maybe you always schedule your income producing activities in a time which you know is going to be continuously interrupted. Maybe if you sit there and you're like, okay, my income producing activity is going to be from 6 to 7:30, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right when the kids are eating dinner. Like, okay, like that's going to be a really hard time for you to find time to like get on social media and like build relationships and have conversations and do all the things that you need to do to build your business. So identify those. Identify those triggers. Step number 2, clean house. Step number 2 is clean house. One thing that I did when I stopped smoking is I realized that in my car was a trigger for me. So I put mints. I got rid of anything that reminded me of, I'm getting ahead. I mean, I got rid of anything that reminded me of anything, air fresheners, all that stuff. If you're looking to jump into your business aggressively and you find that your TV, your phone, whatever it might be is a distraction, clean house. For some of you, that means a season of pausing or canceling your Netflix subscription. It means a season of pausing or canceling Disney Plus and whatever else. It means a season of putting a limit of 10 minutes a day on certain apps on your phone. You need to clean house once you've identified your triggers. Step number 3 is swap it. And that's where I was getting ahead of. For me, what I would always do is I would put mints in my car for me. I swapped it out with mints. If you're getting rid of Netflix, you're getting rid of something that you don't find productive. And again, I'm not telling you to get rid of it forever in your life, but if you're looking to create new habits that are pushing you in the pursuit of your goals, in the pursuit of your dreams, I believe that we need to identify some things. We need to clean some stuff up. So like I said, number 3 was swap it. Maybe you find some new books like we're doing on Mindset Monday, or a podcast that's informative, personal development podcast. It's not a matter of just saying, okay, I'm not going to consume a source of entertainment that I've been consuming, but how can you consume it in a more positive way? How can you consume it in a way that's not going to derail you from your income producing activity hours? If you stack a Netflix show and your income producing activity hours are right after the Netflix show, how often are you going to hit one more episode when you're watching that show? I'll make my calls a little bit later. I got to see what happens. And so again, it's about identifying, cleaning house, swapping it. Number 4 was ease in. Ease in. A lot of the times with these habits, we try to make these cold turkey, cut it out, just going to be done with it. Just it's difficult, but there's a lot of ways that you can find ways to smooth the journey. I think that, you know, the 5th one is jump in, and I want to talk about all of these for a minute here. So ease in and then jump in are 4 and 5. But this is what I want to say about these is not a single one of us, myself included, doesn't have some bad habits that we couldn't eliminate from our life. Not a single. I'm reading this book right now and identifying all the areas in my life as I'm going through this that I can start to identify the triggers, not just when I do something, but why I do something, where I do it, who I do it with, all these little things. From there, I'm starting to set triggers on my phone to limit my screen time. I've started eliminating certain shows and TV time. I started supplementing them with more books and more content that I'm listening to and I'm taking in internally that's more in a personal development vein. You know, with my kids, intentionality with my children. Got a lot of kids. Got to make sure that they all get a little bit of time every single day. So again, when you get into that space of recognition of they're not getting the time I would like to be giving them, it's identifying, cleaning house of the distractions, swapping it, easing it in. Again, even with them, I still have to ease in. It's not like I could just jump in and be like, hey, we haven't hung out all week. Let's go do all this. It's like, no, it's just sitting down and chatting with them. How was your week? How are things going? How you been? You want to chat for a little bit? You want to watch a show? You want to play a game? You want to do something? You want to read a book? And then the next day, it's, you know, then on the weekend, it's let's go see a movie or something fun like that. But even there, you have to ease in. And so identifying these bad habits is important. But then the 6 techniques that he gives for instilling good habits, again, these are very, in my opinion, you've probably heard most of these before. But I always think it's important to reiterate because you never know when saying something for the 10th time or the 1000th time, you hear it differently and it makes something click in your brain. But the 6 techniques for instilling good habits. Number 1 was set yourself up to succeed. I'm going to give you all 6 of these and then I'm going to come back and talk about them. Number 1 is set yourself up to succeed. Number 2 was think addition, not subtraction. Number 3 was tell everyone. Number 4 was get a success buddy. Number 5 was competition and camaraderie. And number 6 was celebrate. So going back over, and number 1, setting yourself up to succeed very basically is exactly how it sounds. You need to put yourself in a position for success. A position for success means that you have cleared yourself of distractions. It means you're prepared for the work that you need to do ahead. So again, setting yourself up for success. If I have 2 hours of income producing activity time, and I had, let's say, 5 hours throughout the day, that was like my open time. Like I was at my job, but I had my phone and I could be doing stuff, but I couldn't be like sitting on the phone for an hour. I could be texting or doing whatever. And I know when I get home, I've got 2 hours of income producing activity time. Setting myself up for success would be prepping the line of how many people can I get excited to call or to be on a phone call during that 2 hour time, so that my time is locked up when I get to that 2 hours and I'm excited to go into that 2 hours. If I spend my day going, hey, I'm going to send messages out saying, oh, I had something fun I want to talk to you about. You free later on tonight? Or, oh my gosh, I just heard the most amazing story earlier today from one of my business partners. You got a few 10 minutes later tonight I can share with you? Or, oh my gosh, I just heard that, whatever. And you spent all day just sending out those text messages. And because you sent out 20, you had 5 people that were lined up and ready to call and talk to that evening during your 2 hours of income producing activity time. That is what it looks like when you set yourself up for success. Because again, not only are you going into that with intentionality and with purpose, but you're going into it 10 times more excited because you did that pre-work. Instead of sitting down going, okay, I know I have to work now. Who am I going to call? Who am I going to touch base with? And you sit and spend the first 30 minutes just scrolling on your phone, just going through your contact book, going, who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? Who's the, like Ursula on Little Mermaid, the poor unfortunate soul that's going to receive the call from me this evening, that's going to get the hard pitch. But instead, you did the work ahead of time. Exactly, the adrenaline rush when you get going on your own income producing activities, it's intoxicating. And it starts to trickle. The fun part about this is if you go into it with 5 calls set up, those 5 calls aren't going to take 2 hours. They might be 10 minutes each. They might be an hour. But the fun part is the adrenaline that carries you through those calls is going to get you to pick up the phone and keep going after those 5. You give one person out of those 5 that shows interest either as a customer or a brand partner, and you'll make calls all night long. You just got to make sure they're to new people and not to all your existing upline and everyone going, I got it. Just keep going. Keep going. So set yourself up for number 2, think addition, not subtraction. Think addition, not subtraction. I think when it comes to setting goals, a lot of the times you're setting good habits. A lot of the times what we look to do is we look to, my legs get all messed up here. When we're setting good habits, a lot of the times we look to see what we need to take out of our life, what we need to remove in order for there to be room for this good habit. I don't want you to think about all of this, consistent cleanup. I think that in the process of creating good habits, you really need to be thinking about what can I be adding into my life every day? What can I be stacking on? What's one good thing I could do today? Just one. Just one that I can add on to this day. And then add another one tomorrow. Every day, just try to find a way to add one little positive thing in the pursuit of that and that good habit. Number 3 is important. It's probably the most important for me, is tell everyone. My father would say that the only way to hit any one of your goals is say yes, tell the world, then go figure it out. Say yes, tell the world, go figure it out. Tell everyone. Everyone. When you have that social accountability, it holds you to a different standard. You got to tell everybody. Get a success buddy is number 4. This one's huge. I've said it before and I'll say it again right now. The number one thing that every single person on this planet wants, number one thing that would cause everyone, in my opinion, to live an exponentially greater life is to have one person that they love and care about consistently by their side, pushing them in the pursuit of what they know is best for them. Lori, think about how much more you would do if the one person you cared about most on this planet was always right next to you, and every moment you went to stop, they said, Lord, just make one more phone call. You got this. You remember how bad you want this? Think about if the next person is your Royal Crown Ambassador. Just think about it. You've got this. You can do this. I believe in you. You would always pick up the phone again. Find a success buddy. Find somebody. They don't need to be sidelined. They don't need to be downline. They can be crossline. They don't need to be, they could be your spouse. That's great. But again, find somebody. I love the spouse, but ultimately a lot of times spouses will allow you the ability to slack off. Sometimes spouses will give you the opportunity to, to slough off a little bit. And especially speaking as a partner that's been in the space, especially if they want attention, especially if they need some attention, then they're definitely going to say, I know you need to make some calls, but save them for tomorrow. Come hang out with me. Let's go out and have dinner. What a brand partner, Crossline, they'll never do that. And so I get it. And there's always times to make sacrifices. There's always time to make sacrifices for your relationship, as well as there are times to make sacrifices for your business. Short-term giving up on these short-term satisfactions with the understanding of the long-term goal, with the understanding of the long-term dream. I want to ask everyone on this call, in reality, how important are the next 6 weeks of your life in relation to the next 10 years of your life? I mean, I get it. If you've got like a child being born or a grandkid being born, or you've got something crazy happening in your life, I like something beautiful and big, I get it. Some people saying very important. The next 6 weeks for them is pivotal. They've got, if you've got stuff going on, that's gonna, that 10 years from now, you're going to be talking about this 6-week period. Then, hey, again, like I said, if a child is being born or a major surgery is happening, I'm not here to that's the exception, not the rule. But what I will say is this: for those of you that in the next 6 weeks, you're sitting here saying that, I don't really see these next 6 weeks being pivotal in the next 10 years of my life, as far as the distractions. Some of you, I think, that are commenting, I've been misinterpreting the comments as you've been saying I've been taking as you have a lot of stuff going on in your life outside of the Happy Code, that you have a lot of huge things distractions going on. But what I understand what you're saying now. So all that to say is the next 6 weeks, what do they matter in the grand scheme of things? What if You turn the next 6 weeks into what number 5 is. It's competition. What if you found someone in this company and you decided to compete with them? Or a group of people? Melissa P loves competition. She sure does. That's no joke. She sure does. Give that girl a competition and she's like, it's game over. Good luck. But what I will say is this is I've been playing with this idea, so you might see something coming along this vein, but I'm all about competition. Fun, healthy competition. I love it when I've been playing with some fun ideas, and I don't know how I would do it yet, but I've got something fun up my sleeve. I've got something fun up my sleeve. And it has to do with you guys getting randomly partnered up in groups. Having nothing to do with your downline, crossline, sideline organizations, but just random, completely random. Maybe based on rank. I don't know. But thinking about getting you guys all, yeah, like a survivor challenge, something like that. I'm thinking about something like that. You guys be into something like that? I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be kind of fun. I'm playing with the idea, but I love competition. So what I'm saying the last 6 weeks is this. What can you do to instill that competition in your mindset? If you don't have anyone to compete with, you can compete with yourself. Let's say you have never brought in a single brand partner into the Happy Co. That needs to be your number one competition. That's your number one. You're competing with yourself to get number one. That's it. And that's your goal. Eat, breathe, sleep it. Live it, bleed it, sweat it, cry it. Nonstop. Once you got that one, you compete with them. P, what's going on? I just brought you on, sister. Let's do a little competition over the next 30 days. I don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing. Let's figure it out together. Number 6 was celebrate. And it's very, very, very important to celebrate even the little wins. A lot of personal development gurus say on the daily list of your daily tasks, of things that you should do every single day, if you're making a to-do list every single day, to always include at least 1 or 2 things that you do no matter what, that you do easily, just to give yourself a couple quick, easy check marks at the beginning of your day. Put go pee at the top of your to-do list. Did it, checked it off, done. Number 2, wash your hands. Did it, done. Number 3 is make the bed. Okay, now I actually got to do something. But at least I've gotten a couple things done already. Celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate. He says on average, it takes 300 positive interactions for it to become daily practice. This call is not, I mean, every call can be wrapped into business in some way, but this call is mainly just about us as human beings. This call is just mainly about us. Like I tell my children every single day, it's like I had to have a couple stern talkings tos with my kiddos this evening. I had to have a couple little come to Jesus talks with them this evening. And even in those talks at the very end, it always ends the exact same way. It always ends with me telling them and asking them, you know how much I love you. And then telling them that the only goal of any of this conversation is to help you realize how much greatness you have in you. That all I want for you is to be the best version of yourself that you are capable of being. and not in any way to talk to you like children, but that is all I want for each and every one of you, is to be the best version of what you're capable of being. And sometimes it is just the awareness. Sometimes it's just the identification. Sometimes it is just someone saying enough is enough. Sometimes it's an accountability partner. Sometimes it's a little bit of competition that gets the ball rolling. But in closing, what I'll say is this: I will challenge you, as I have in the past, to forget about willpower. Like potential, everyone's got it, and it's cheap. Find your why power. Tap into that. What would you die for? Do not forget that we are what we repeatedly do, ladies and gentlemen. And well, for some, like for me, that can feel like you are a person running a laundromat or the back end of a kitchen. But what I'll tell you is, it's about choices. The habits that we create are all about choices every single day. I don't care if you're 25, 85. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what stage of life you're in. I was told by someone a long time ago, sometimes the thing that you need to hear is going to come from a voice and a face that you did not expect to hear it from. I hope that you guys took some time to really map out over this last week your income producing activity. Put a 5 in the comments if you journaled over the last week like I asked you to. Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Did you find it eye-opening? When you had to journal the calls and the actual calls that you make, was it eye-opening? Was it what you expected? Put a 3 in the comments if it was what you expected. Put a 5 in the comments if it was eye-opening for you. You got to write these things down, you guys. It's very important. My hope is that this last week was just a great reminder that when we write things down, it allows us to see the reality. Sometimes we will talk ourselves into thinking we're doing a lot more than we really are. And when we write it down, it was like, all right, all of my whole week fit on one page. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, buckle up. Time to get to work next week. We got to get at least 2 pages next week. Like, that's not, I double spaced and everything, and I still couldn't even fit on 2 pages. Like, ooh, okay. So again, this is all about just awareness. This is all just about bringing it up. Because I see each and every one of you as a diamond. I see each and every one of you as an ambassador. I see each and every one of you as living the life of your dream, whatever that looks like for you. And I want you to know it's possible. I think that the world is literally trying to show us just so much crap and divisiveness and constantly negative everything. If you're not using this for building your business, stay off of it. If you're not on Facebook and you are using it to build your business, stay off of it. When was the last time you watched the news and felt good? I feel like there's enough of it out there, you guys. There's enough. We get to be the change. And I know it's a weird, like, what is that? It's a weird torch to grab, it's a weird torch to run with, to say that I'm going to be the change in my world. I'm going to be the change when everyone else is negative and talking about election midterms and, oh, this and that, and the blue wave and red wave, and everyone's going to die in World War III and Ukraine and Russia. And it's like, can we just talk about more death and destruction if we wanted to? Like, enough is enough. We get to be the change. And that's scary sometimes. But it's also incredibly liberating. It's also incredibly freeing. It's also incredibly beautiful. And when you change, when you make that change, when you start changing these habits, when you start setting goals with intention, when you start staying consistent, all of those actors in your life, all of those pretenders in your life that have been playing the role as friend, but have been really wanting to keep you in that rut that you've been in, they will self-identify like that. They will self-identify like that. Then you just get to go, oh, I thought you really believed in me. Oh, you only believed in me when I was down here. But the second I start going up here, what I'm doing is silly and stupid. And I don't have time for you. And I don't have time to go to the bar. And I don't have time to go do this. And I don't have time to go do that. I'm rambling. These are all thoughts that are coming to my brain. But what I will tell you is I believe in you guys. This is going to be a big week. I will say this. I'm glad I didn't forget this. We found there's only literally like a couple of these left. If there are any of your customers that did not get our fall bundle, we literally have like a couple of these left that we just found in the warehouse that were in like an extra box or something. So these are going to be gone by tomorrow. Gone by tomorrow, guaranteed. If you want one of your customers wants one, has not seen this bundle with the amazing happy chocolate. We've got the unwind. What else did we put in there, Julie? It's got the happy chocolate, the unwind, and we've got that amazing coffee mug in there. Oh my gosh. And that, is there happy caps in there too? Do we put happy caps in there? Just happy caps in there too with the coffee mug? There's only a few left. They're going to be gone tomorrow. Don't let your customers be reaching out when they all start showing up on social media and everyone's drinking out of that cute mug going, why didn't I get one? Don't be that person. This Wednesday on What's Up Weekly, I've got a very special guest coming to join me for a very special interview. So make sure that you got your teams showing up for that. It's going to be awesome. And I am super excited about it. If you like product and product knowledge and getting to be a little bit more up to date from someone that, you know, like made our product, Wednesday would be a good call to be on. And so I'm super excited for that. We do have our Super Saturday coming up this week. So make sure you are promoting to that like crazy. Do not miss out on the opportunity to let these incredible leaders do the work for you when it comes to explaining this incredible opportunity and these amazing products. And with that being said, we're going to cover next week, I think is, let me just make sure. We've got 2 weeks left. And so we are going to cover momentum. We're just going to cover momentum next week. Chapter 4, momentum next week. And then we'll cover the final 2 chapters in the final week of November. But as always, God bless you guys. I will be praying for each and every one of you, wishing you nothing but abundance, wishing you nothing but happiness in your life. And I look forward to seeing you on the calls later this week. Until then, bye for now. Bless you.